Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
madam.
Okay, so this is important information. Okay, so final sitting for the final task will be informed next week. So no information so far because there's no latest info from the group leader. But I guess the lecturers will be having meeting next Monday. Alright. Okay, next, the last class will be conducted online, either next week Monday or Tuesday. Alright, 8 o'clock at night online. Okay, so after this, I will provide you the practice questions, so that you can try to answer that, and we discuss the answer on next week class. Right, next one, if your group report is not satisfied, so I will contact the group leader for resubmissions. Okay, so please make sure that the group leader check the message in Teams. Alright, and the marks for quiz and practical tests have been released officially. Okay, but before this, I've shown already, alright? Okay, in the lab class about the marks. Okay, weeks ago lah, not just recent one lah, right? Okay, next is the marks for the group project will be released latest by uh 21st of January. Okay, alright, is there any questions before we start?
Madam.
Hmm.
Yang assignment tu kan kena evaluate group lain. Ni kena done before 21st juga ke macam mana, madam?
uh okay, I did send some informations for the evaluation to some groups. Okay, but some groups have not received yet because there's a few students have not submit the video link. Okay, so I think I will finalize back tomorrow, send back to the group leader for those who haven't received the evaluation link. Okay, so please complete by Sunday because I will compile everything on Sunday, and Monday is the last one lah for me to key in, hopefully. Alright.
Okay, madam.
Okay, so if you already received that the evaluation link from me, so you can start do the evaluations lah. Alright, please refer to the informations in the Google form link. If you haven't received, due to the some groups have not submitted the video link, I haven't checked yet the latest one from VLE because I have FYP presentations lah today. Okay, so I will check again lah. Maybe tonight. Then I will send back to the group leader for those who haven't received the informations. Alright. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Yes. No more.
No questions.
No questions. Okay, so we are going to continue the revision. Alright. Okay, before that okay, for your information next week the last class I will not do recording. Alright. Okay, so if you cannot join, so I will not uh if you cannot join, that means try to make yourself available lah because I do at night, right? Okay, try to make yourself available to join that. Alright. Okay, so before I forget, I send first the practice question. Don't answer now lah, right? Because I wanted to do revision now. Hmm. Okay, for those who submit any documents, I remind already, don't submit to my teams because I cannot open or view the files. Alright. This one. Okay, so you can refer that. Already sent. So you can do that later on. Okay, so since our final test next week will be conducted at in the computer lab, right? So you are allowed to bring uh, your own laptop, but basically that one is just for standby lah. If the computer lab suddenly is not working, so you can use your own laptop, right? Okay, make sure install the Safe Exam browser. Alright. Any
And then will we need
what?
the exam slip?
Exam slip is for those who are sitting for final examination. This is from other lecturers inform me lah. I'm not sure whether this one the information is correct or not. Okay, because you know that I've just joined here 3 months ago. Okay, but I heard that not required for final task. Okay, to to uh, to confirm about that, can you refer to your head of sections or maybe your academic advisor? Is that okay? Yeah.
Oh,
Right. Okay.
okay.
What I heard that's for final examinations only required the exam slip, but not for final test. Okay, but if you have been barred uh, from the assessment for final task, so means that you are not allowed to sit for the final task. There's a few students lah have been barred lah due to the poor attendance. Alright. Okay, so we are going to continue to this escape sequence and maths library, but this one I will just go through very fast lah, right? For this escape sequence. Okay, let me check first. Alright. Okay, so how do we determine the escape sequence? Based on what types of symbol? What type of symbol represent the escape sequence? What is the escape sequence? Symbols is denoted by
symbol backslash.
backslash. What's the backslash? How is that backslash?
Slash, but other side.
Wait, I'm checking. This backslash, right? These kinds of symbols, this is the backslash. Alright, so there are several types of backslash, right? Common one is for the new line, okay? And then we have backslash T represent the space. It looks like your backspace lah on your keyboard, okay? And if you want to print these kinds of symbols, so we use the code as double backslash. If you want to display the double quote symbol, okay, so we use this backslash with this double quote, then you will get these kinds of symbol, right? Okay, next is the other one is I'm not discussing because this is not the common one. All right. Okay. Next is about the library file. Okay, the library file. One of that is the maths library file. Okay, so the maths library file use without creating objects. Okay. Okay, so how do we determine the maths library file? So basically, this maths library file used for methods involving mathematical functions such as the square root, the power, absolute value, to do rounding, something like to get the ceiling value, floor value, and also to generate random numbers. Alright. Okay, so this is example for the square root. In the codes, we have .sqrt. So the red one here is your library file. Okay, so in this view, this IDE here in the current figure shows that we are using the GDB, okay, online GDB. But at the starting here, we did not import that because the maths library file is built in your online GDB, okay. But if you are using different tools rather other than this online GDB, so you have to import that library file, okay. Alright, so if you use IDE, whereby the maths library file is not built in, then you need to include in the first line, such as input, okay, java.lang.maths, something like that. So then you can use this maths library file, right? Okay, so then here we have sqrt represent square root of that number, POW for power, ABS absolute meaning. Then we have dot max to find out the maximum between two numbers, dot min for to find out the minimum value between two numbers. Okay, then we have dot round, rounding the values, dot ceilings as CEIL for rounds up. Okay, then we have dot floor to rounds down, and then we have max dot random to generate random value between 0 to 1. Okay, then we have trigger functions such as dot sine, dot cosine, dot tangents, okay, together with this input value for the angle, which is noted in the parenthesis. Alright. Okay, so for these trigger functions, right, this angle value which is for the input, you need to take note that the inputs will be using the radians value. Okay, if your angle is not radians, then you need to convert that value to radians. Maybe your input is in degree value, for example 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and so on. So you need to convert that first to radian, then you can use the trigger functions. Alright. Yeah. Okay, let me see here. Okay, next we move to other types of the library files, right? Okay, library files, we have, first one is the standard library based on Java API. This one is the built-in into your JDK, alright? In this standard library, you have a certain package which is in the organized form. Okay, so means that your library file is organized into packages. Alright, one of the common package is this one, java.lang. This is auto imported. Okay, auto imported. And second one that you commonly see is this one, commonly used is java.util, okay, which is .scanner. Alright, so this is your standard library, which is java.util, commonly used with scanner. Alright. Again, the purpose of functions is stated here lah, right? Okay, next is the external library file, which is third party library. Okay, so this third party library require .jar format files where you can download and add this to the project. Okay, so other than this third party library, so we have JSON. Okay, if you want to use files in the format of JSON, so you need to use this library file named JSON or Jacksons. Alright, and this one basically not available by default in online GDB. Okay. Okay, next is the third one is user defined library. Okay, so this user defined library means that you want to create your own library file. So the purpose of this library file should be depends on the meaning of the program that you want to design. Alright, so in this user defined library, it consists of reusable classes. Okay, reusable classes. Alright. Okay, so that's one is for libraries, the other types of library. And then we move to these repetition structures in Java. Okay, how many types of repetition structure in Java that you have learned? Three.
Three loop.
Three loops, three types. See, Alright. Okay. Okay, so the purpose for these repetitions is to perform that task for multiple of times. Alright. Okay, so basically we have while, do while, and loop. For loops. Okay, while, do while, and for loops. Okay, how do we decide these three? Okay, which one is suitable for being used in that problem? How do we decide the suitability for these three types of loop?
If the code needs to run again, then we use the loops.
No, what I mean is, okay, how do we decide that this problem, okay, you need to use while loop? This problem you have to use do while. This problem you need to use for loop. Okay, so how do we decide that the suitability of the repetition method?
Based on number of repetition required.
Number of repetition is required. So means what?
It means we know how many times it needs to loop.
Number of
I think.
number of repetition is known. Do you mean by that?
Yeah,
Which one?
Yes.
Which loop?
for
For loop.
loop.
Okay, alright, okay. So in the repetitions, common things that you need to know for the any types of repetition loop. Okay, so the loop will be repeated. The will repeat the statements while the condition is true. Okay, condition is true means that whatever condition stated, okay, in that types of loop, it will be performed repeatedly. Okay, as long as that number of tasks is true, so then it will be performed repeatedly. Alright, so basically this loop need to be performed in discrete number of times. Okay, so there must be a limit, so that one you need to know what is the maximum value that the loop will be repeated. For example lah, alright, it must contain stop value. Okay, so any types of the loops that you have learned, either while loop, do while loop, or for loop, okay, consists of three items. What is that? What is the three items? Anyone?
Initialization, count, update.
Second one is what?
Condition. Condition, sorry.
Okay, initialization, conditions, and update. It must be in sequence first lah, the conditions lah. Initialization means the nilai awal. Condition, what types of operator that you'll be using for the condition? What types of operator?
Greater than.
Yeah. That is a specific one. So that greater than, less than, or what is under which operator?
Oh, relational.
Relational?
Yeah.
Relational or logic?
Logic.
Oh.
Relational or logic? This is last week revision. Relational or logic? Relational or logic?
Yeah. Relational.
Relational.
Still relational.
Relational. You agree with relational?
Yeah. Equal to great. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
what is the example of logic operator?
The double ampersand.
The and
Plus minus.
And.
or. Alright. Okay, that is logic operator lah. Alright. Okay, so conditions will be based on your symbol of less than. Can be less than and equal, greater than and equal, or maybe not equal, something like that. Okay, so that is under relational operator. Okay, so what is the symbol or operator type for update? For update, symbols for that.
Like increment?
Increment only? The update, is it based on increment? Is it the update based on only based on increment?
Maybe.
Update only based on increment? Only based on increment for this update. How about decrement?
Like
Sorry?
it's-
We can have, right, in terms of decrement. Okay?
Yeah.
Updates can be either in terms of increment or decrement. Okay? So if your update based on the increment, so you must have initial value, small number, okay, and the condition will reach at the maximum value. If you use update based on decrement, then you must start your initializations with big number and the conditions will be reached at the minimum value. Alright. Okay, now we goes to this first loop, while loop. Alright, so in this while loop, so basically this is the structure, basic structure. Okay, so we are going to use the initializations here. Alright, just put here like initializations before this while, and then we have the conditions. Okay, conditions here depends on your update whether it's increment or not. Then this part must consist of your update process. Okay, statements should be the task, but after that you must include the update process, right? Okay, so for this while loop, the conditions check before the loop. Okay, why condition check before the loop? Because the conditions is here. Alright, so the condition will be checked first. Then for this while loop, it may execute 0 times. Okay, it may execute 0 times. 0 time means that the number of repetition is 0. Alright. Okay, when we have do while loop, so this is the basic structure for the do while loop, right? So your initializations will be here, alright. Then you have the conditions doing here, and then your update process will be something like this here. Okay, so in this do while loop, the condition check after loop. Okay, because your conditions here at this row, right? And it will execute at least 1. Okay, because the task is doing first and then the condition will be checked later. Alright. Okay, so next is the for loop. Okay, so for loop is combined, is more systematic. So this is the basic structure for for loop. You must have this initial value. Okay, then it will be separated using this semicolon. Then we have this condition, okay, using your relational operator. And then you have update process either in terms of increment or decrement. Okay, so when the number of repetition is known, then we will use for loop. Okay, number of repetitions is known, so we'll be using or apply the for loop. Otherwise, if the number of repetition is unknown, then you need to decide whether do while or while loop will be applied. Alright. Okay, so for these types of loop, you need to make sure that the conditions or the process in these 3 types of loop, okay, the condition always true, and please make sure that there is no infinite loop, okay, happens when you designs the problems or the method for that repeated task. Okay, please avoid to design infinite loop. Okay, so the loop should be in discrete number of times. Okay, repeated for discrete number of times. Alright, okay, next one. Let's see here. Okay, next is Java methods. Java methods. um, how many types of Java methods that is in the syllabus?
3.
3. Why suddenly there is a 3?
2.
2.
4.
2.
Answered 4.
The 2 is project punya questions, right? Java methods, 2 Java method that is project questions. Okay, so how many types? How many types?
4.
4 types. Yeah, 4 types. 4 types. So, okay, so these Java methods are introduced so that we can reduce duplications and the program can improve the readability. Okay, it is something like this. You have done the GUI program, right? Okay, so the GUI program, you are designing the solutions for the GUI. Alright, so you have the interface, and then you call the interface in the main. Okay, main methods. So that is one of the applications. Alright. Okay, if you have another interface, let's say second GUI, and then you want to call in the main. So your main can call first interface and second interface. Okay, so we just have only one main, but inside the main, you can call different GUI. Okay, so instead having one GUI, you run one by one. GUI number 1, GUI number 2 separately, so you can design or improve that duplications or in terms of readability to display that kinds of GUI. You just call that GUI in your main. Okay, just call that the GUI. So this is one of the reason why this Java method is introduced. Alright. Okay, so the types of Java, there are four types of Java methods. Depends on what argument, alright, and the return value. Okay, argument and return value. Okay, so let's see. What is the meaning of argument? What is the meaning of return value? What is the meaning of argument? What is the meaning of return value? What is the meaning of that? Argument refer to what?
And
Input.
Input. Okay, input, right? Arguments refer to your input, okay, in that program or in the problem. Alright, the input is one or more than one. The input is one variable or more than one variable.
Mm-hmm.
One,
More than one.
two. One or more than one. One variable or more than one variable.
Both.
Both.
More.
It can be one input, it can be more than one input. Alright, so that is argument, right? Okay. How about return value? So basically this return value refer to the outputs. Alright? Output, something that will be computed or returns in the program. Alright. Okay, so how do we know it is arguments or return value? Okay, let's see the one in this blue box. So we have this method name. Your method name is this one, right? Okay, so this is basic. You still have the void main structure. Okay, you still have void main here, but this blue box is your structure for your method. Okay, void main. Okay, so the meaning of return value or arguments, okay, refer to this method structure, okay, in your method structure. Okay, so the way how we create the method name will be similar to how we decide for variable name. You cannot have special symbol, okay, except underscore, cannot start with special symbol, cannot contain white space and so on. So it's the same rule, but this part is not a variable name lah. This one is the method name. Alright, if your program do not have inputs in the method, then your parenthesis here will be empty. So this part refer to your argument. Okay, inside this parenthesis, if there is no input, so your argument is empty, no argument inside here. Alright, then if the program, okay, in your method name there's nothing to be written in the method name, this is method then we use void. Okay, so if there's something need to be written in this structure, of method, then you need to use return. Okay, you need to use return, but then you cannot use void. Okay, void means no return lah. Alright, so this void you need to replace based on the data type of the returning variable. Okay, so if your data types of that returning variable is integer, so this void you need to replace with int. If your data types that will be written here is maybe double, so this void you need to use double. Alright, okay, alright. Okay, so we just want to classify here lah. Alright, types of method. The first one, no return value. Okay, this one no return value, no arguments. No return value, no argument. So let's check first. We don't have this argument, so inside this parenthesis is empty. This is method name, nothing to be written, so we use void. Alright, so there's no return here. Okay, no return. Okay, second one, if you have argument and if you have return value. Okay, arguments here, the num is the input. Okay, one input. How do you know is one input? Because there's a one variable here, num. If you have two inputs, then you need to specify here what is the second input variable. Then this is the data type for the num. Okay, and square is the method name. Since that this method has this return, something to be written. Alright, so how do we know what is the return type? So since num is integer, so integer times integer, because the formula here stated as num times num, right? So integer times integer numbers will produced also as integer number. So the void here should be replaced with integer. Okay, you cannot use void. Void means nothing will be written in that method structure. Alright, okay, so then you have void main as usual, the void main as usual, but inside your void mains, remember that you need to call the method name. Alright, okay, third one is there is an argument, okay, but there's no return value. Okay, no return value, so see there's a void, this is method name, there's no return here. Okay, we have one argument. The variable or the input is n, so the data type for this n is integer. Alright. Okay, okay, this one arguments. Alright, so then we have, let me see here. Okay, there's a part that is okay. For this Java method, you might consider these overloaded methods. These overloaded methods refer to you have different parameters, different arguments, okay, but it contains same Java method. The method name is the same. Here print. Okay, but the argument is different. One x is integer, next one is double x. Okay, this is example for overloaded methods whereby we have different arguments or different parameters, but your method name is the same. Okay, this is example lah, right? Okay, next we have static method. So basically this static methods belongs to the class, so there's no object required. And for the non-static method, it belongs to the object. However, it requires object creations. Okay. Alright. Okay, so that is types of methods. Now I want to specify back. Okay, so we have, I'm not sure whether you still remember or not, the calling method in the main. Okay, calling method in main structure. Okay, so how do we call the method if the first start, no argument, no return value? Okay. Okay, let's say you have see okay, so we have method 1, public Okay, so how to recall the value? How to recall the method in your in your main structure? How to call that the method? It will be something just call like this. Okay, for the first start. Alright. Okay, so this void main can be before or after the method lah. There's no issues. But when the compiler reads, they will go first to the void main. Alright. Okay, how to call for the second type? No argument, but there is a return value. Do you still remember? I think this one I wrote in on the whiteboard lah before this. Okay, so second type is no argument. So no argument, but there is a return value. Okay, something like this one lah, right? No argument, so here is empty. So then there is a return value, so we cannot use void. Okay, let's say the return type is integer. Okay, let's say so maybe it's your return y times y. Okay, for example. Alright. Okay, so there's a return something here. There's some value that will be going to this main, right? So main will be receiving this value of this product. Okay, so because the main receiving that value, so you need to assign that value to a variable, something like maybe new variable is capital Y. Okay, for examples. Okay, because this is a return value. Alright, so this is calling. Call in main, it's called function 1. Function 1 is here, so this method of function 1 will be performed. Then before this there's a task lah. I don't want to be detailed, so that it can be any task listed here, but at the end after the task there's some value that will be returned to the main. Okay, so main will be receiving this product value, so the product value will need to be assigned, okay, to a variable name. So you need to create a variable name for that receiving value. Okay, next is the third one. With argument, no return value. Okay, so there's an argument here. Let's say is double. Okay, double R, right? Sorry, not this one. This is main. This one is here. Double R. Okay. No return value. So with argument. So inside here is a variable. No return value, so there's nothing to be written here. So how do we call the functions? Okay, so just put down here as double R. Call the function. Okay, let's say give the function different name. Now this one is function 2. Alright. Okay, so just call the functions with argument. Alright, so next is with argument and with return value. Okay, so let's say the argument is float. Okay, float A. There is a return value. Okay, maybe let's say it's a float also. The function name, let's call it as function 3. Alright, then there is a return part, there's a statement before this, then there is a return value. Okay, so let's assume your your A times 2.5 let's say. Okay, so return value, let's say so then this part, okay, will be received, okay, by the main. So we have argument, say float A, then return value will need to be assigned. Let's call that receiving value to maybe X, right? Okay, so this is the basic one you should know, right? Okay, so these 4 types, when you want to design, you need to see the difference in terms of the argument, return value, and the calling method inside your main structure. Alright, okay. Next is arrays. Okay, so array we can identify basically with the symbol of this square bracket. Okay, so basic form to declare the array will be the data type, okay, followed by the square bracket and the array name on the left side. Okay, and on the right side will be followed by the new data type and the size for the array. Size referring to the number of elements in the array. Okay. Okay, for example, let's say we have array name of numbers. Okay, so the data type for these numbers is integer. So we use int followed by these square brackets and then equal to new. Let's say the number of elements for these numbers is 5. Okay, so here we have new int 5. So it means that this number consists of 5 integers in this array. Alright. The elements in the array will be initialized to default values unless you want to state what is the initializations. Okay, if no initialization, so the default values will be 0 for the integer type, 0.0 for the double type, okay, false for the boolean, null for the string. Alright. And for this array, if you want to recall back the elements for that array, you need to take note that array size, the call for that will be starting, okay, call for the index in the array will be started with 0. Okay, the first element. So 0 means this is the first element in the array. Alright. In the syllabus you have learned one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array. Okay, one-dimensional array. So if you want to design with the for loop, so you will be using this kinds of one set of the square brackets. If you want to design with two-dimensional array, so the program will be based on nested for loop. Alright, nested for loop will be okay, will be based on the outer and inner loop. Okay, so nested means you have outer loop, okay, using for loop here. This is outer loop, so inside this outer loop you have another for loop. Okay, so please be careful on the use of these curly brackets. Alright, because if something is missing, it may not represent the nested loop. Okay, so nested loop for this array will be applicable if you want to do the operation something like to display the output in terms of the table. Okay, so the first outer loop here represent the row and the inner loop represent the column, okay, from the table. Alright. Okay, alright, so okay, next one is, okay, next is then Alright, topic here is here. Okay, so this object-oriented technology, Okay, under this object-oriented technology, we have object-oriented programming. So this is actually is a part of the object-oriented technology in terms of the implementation. Okay, implementation using programming language. Alright. So under this OOP, you need to differentiate which part represent the class and object. So what is the meaning of class and object? Okay. So so objects basically is to store the data, perform actions, and also usually it will be denoted by the fields and the methods. Alright. So this object usually created from the class. So basically class is the blueprint, and then the object is the instance created from the class. Alright. So basically for this topic, in the final task, it will be based on the definition, concept, and also the use of these items. Okay, usage. So something like the use of the class or object in this object-oriented programming. Okay. Okay, so under this object-oriented programming, what are the items? So we have the first one called as the encapsulations. Right? What is the encapsulations? Referring to the data hiding. Okay. And second one is the abstractions. What is the abstractions? Okay, abstractions. It is something like in this object-oriented programming, we want to show what, but then we want to hide how that things will be performed. Okay, and third one is the inheritance. Okay, inherits. So this inheritance related to the code reuse using the keywords of extents. Okay, keywords of extents. Alright, this is keywords of extent. Okay, the last one is the polymorphism. It's referred to the same method but then different behavior. Okay, so under this object-oriented programming, you need to know the UML class. What is the meaning of the UML class? UML will be something is here. This one. Okay, this is UML, refer to the Unified Modeling Language. So this UML is under encapsulations. Okay. We have special methods to initialize object, and then it will be for the constructor. You can have same name as the class, and in the UML class diagram. Okay, so we have the top level as the class name. Okay, middle level is your attributes. The bottom one is your methods. So methods usually refer to the operations involved in that program. Okay, so this is specific example. I think I have this kinds of, okay, like this one lah. Alright, so let's say this is our top. The class name is rectangle. The middle one is the attributes. Okay, these are the attributes containing such as the width, length. Basically this one referring to your variables. Then the bottom one is your methods. Okay, methods refer to your operations lah. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay, any questions so far? Alright, I think I've sent to you the practice question just now. Okay, practice question for you to answer. We discuss this on next class. Okay, any questions so far?
No, madam.
Okay. Alright, let me stop.